What's up, world? Welcome back to Sneakers and Sports. You got your boy KP on the ones and twos, and of course, you got Mike the expert. We still don't know what he's an expert of, but he's an expert anyway. If this your first time, as he says, we'll see about that. We're going to determine that at this show. This your first time pulling up on Sneakers and Sports. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We need y'all. We're trying to grow the channel. We want to do things in a much bigger way, and we need y'all help to do that. But with no more blah, 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 let's get into the show because we got a lot to talk about. We got some good things for you. Mike Vrabel, man. Dianna, I'm about to mess the lady name up again. Dianna Russini and Mike Vrabel, of course, getting caught out, possibly looking like it might be an affair going on, might be a little bit of nasty work, and plus might have ran off on the plug twice. We're going to talk about that. Of course, the NBA, Mike, the play-in tournament, I got to be honest, we did say we wanted to go away, but yesterday was great. The game between the Heat and the Hornets was a good game, bro. That thing came down to the last couple seconds. I appreciate it.
Neither of those teams got a chance to do anything anyway. So,
Look at this guy. He just poured cold water right on that, man. Try to set him up for the lob and he throw cold water on him.
I mean, neither one of those teams are going anywhere,
So we talking about that. And of course, we got a couple other things to talk about and chop up. So again, like, share, subscribe, keep pulling up on us. And if you're on Instagram, @theculture1, real simple, real easy. So let's talk about Vrabel and Dianna Russini. Of course, we know her from ESPN and we know her from The Athletic. She is basically the Patriots insider, has been in the game for a long time, like over a decade, putting in work as a reporter. But this is the crazy thing. She gets caught out in Sedona at a romantic, basically, getaway with Mike Vrabel.
Is she married?
She's married. Mike Vrabel's married.
Okay.
They was caught dancing together and they were at the pool. Looked like they wine and dining, champagne and campaigning it up. And then there's another picture of them at a bar at a separate time, man. So, of course, she is getting investigated by her employer because they basically have a thing where you're not supposed to be in a close relationship with a source. And we know she was the one breaking all this alleged A.J. Brown to the Patriots news, man. Do you think she played herself by possibly getting caught on an affair out in public?
Well, what all were they doing? I mean, dancing with somebody doesn't mean you're having an affair with them.
Well, okay, you at the bar, you're in the pool together, you're by the pool together.
Here's
what's
the thing? Being by the pool. Were they naked?
Though. I mean, come on, dog. What kind of resort you think they at? You think they at the Bunny Ranch?
I'm just saying. What's wrong with being by the pool with a person?
Bruh,
what were they doing?
Man?
What were they doing?
You at a romantic resort without your wife being there and without her husband being there. Why are y'all there?
Is it a resort or a romantic resort?
It's a romantic resort. It's a place where people go, like the place actually, promotes themselves as a place to bring your lady. Like I went on a romantic resort with my wife. We went to one that was like adults only, can't bring no kids. You get your own private, bungalow, you can enjoy yourself.
Gotcha.
So that looks a little weird if I'm there by myself or my wife isn't there. That's a little strange.
I mean, if they're at a romantic resort, then yeah. I just know how you play on words sometimes.
No, I'm not playing I'm looking at the pictures. I'm looking at the video. There ain't no playing on no words. That's the pictures in the video.
So did they catch them cuddling or anything like that or just dancing?
I mean, they hugged up. It doesn't look
They're
good.
Hugged
bro.
up? Okay.
It does not look good. This the thing though, man. A lot of people calling double standard because they looking out for Mike Vrabel, and the Patriots basically are not even making him available to the media, where Russini was actually being investigated and could possibly lose her job and decide to step down before that happened.
Well, does Russini work for the Patriots?
She works for The Athletic, but here's the thing, expert. If it wasn't nothing, then why would you be stepping down before the investigation is complete? I mean, I'm looking at the pictures right now. They're hugged up in one picture. Another picture, they're dancing. Another one, he got his arm around her in the pool. Yeah. Come on, bro.
I'm not saying it's not nothing. I'm answering. You were asking, talking about something different. You were saying that they are, that the Patriots are not letting anything happen to Mike or whatever. That's that organization protecting their person. Dianna doesn't work for the Patriots, so the Patriots are not gonna protect her. That's up to the Athletic to protect her, and obviously the Athletic is not trying to do that. Those two different companies. The Patriots don't owe her anything. So,
but do you think the Athletic owes her something to maybe look out for her? Because I mean, she is married, and if she is having an affair, that's like personal. That's outside of work, bro.
Yeah, but why would the Athletic owe her anything? That's just her employer.
I mean, the Patriots is his employer.
Yeah, and the Patriots are choosing to protect them and look out for him, but they don't have to. They don't owe him that. They just decided to do that. The Athletic doesn't owe her anything, and they're not giving her anything. They're like, hey, you can go. You
Well,
know,
here's the thing, man. We know why the Patriots are looking out for Mike Vrabel. They haven't been to the Super Bowl since Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. So, of course,
yeah.
this man just took you to a Super Bowl. You're going to look out for him.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna look out for them. I mean, when a person is doing good for your company, you're gonna get away with a lot more. But I mean, the Athletic, they obviously think that she's expendable, so there she is. She's gone. Now I think she stepped down, right?
She stepped down and she had her lawyer. I mean, it's obvious a lawyer wrote the statement, but she
Yeah.
stepped down as she was getting investigated. But here's the thing. The company said they're going to keep investigating her, although she stepped down. They still going to keep looking into this. Look at the pictures I just sent you. Take a look at the pictures I just sent you. You'll see what
Yeah,
time
but
it is.
but what could they do to her since she doesn't work for them anymore? It's like, I guess, do they want to add more to the story? Is this a big
Well,
story
here's
for
the
them?
thing. Her contract was up for renewal she was like 2 months away from her contract being renewed.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if they kind of find this out, this makes it harder for her to get another job. I mean, this
Yeah.
wasn't an affair situation, but look at Rachel Nichols. She said something on a hot mic, and it was harder for her to get a job until Matt Barnes and them looked out for her, so that happens. Look at Skip Bayless. He kind of
Yeah.
landed on his feet until Gilbert Arenas looked out for him. Other than that, he was looking kind of bad out here in the streets.
Yeah, but he wasn't having an affair or anything like that.
Well, I mean, he's alleged that there is alleged that he tried to shoot his shot. It just wasn't received well.
That's all alleged. But yeah. So in this situation, yeah, they were most likely probably having an affair. This is without even looking at the pictures. They were most likely having an affair if they're at a exclusive resort, whether it's romantic or not. If they're there and it's not like a team oriented thing or a job oriented thing, and they're there together, then of course there's most likely something going on.
Right.
And they were dumb for doing this in public like that. I don't care what type of exclusive resort. I don't, there's always going to be cameras. Everybody has a phone. I'm sure it's not a resort that says no phones.
You got to put your phone up to come up in there.
And if everybody and people are going to recognize at least they're going to recognize at least one of you. People are in the sports, in the football. I mean, even some reporters, like I recognize her when I look at her pictures. I'm like, oh yeah. If I
Right.
saw her in person, I would recognize who she is. Well, I mean, yeah, people are going to use their cameras. They're going to take pictures of you. You're an idiot for doing that in public.
So you saying if you saw Adam Schefter, I'm not saying he's doing this, so don't aggregate us on that, because we
Yeah.
ain't saying nothing about Shefty. But let's just say you saw somebody that is married, but you know what I'm saying, they not with their wife and it look like they on an affair. You snapping them pictures and trying to get that money from TMZ.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm definitely snapping the pictures. I'm snapping the pictures, I'm recording, I'm doing all that, and then I'ma send a copy of it, send it to them and be like, I need $1 million.
So you gonna ransom it? You gonna ransom
yeah.
them?
Yeah, I'm like, I need $1 million or this is coming out.
Yo, man, you doing just like the Denzel movie, man. You A$AP Rocky now, you ransoming people's kids.
Hey,
Back to the front.
I don't know nothing about no kids or anything like that, but all I know is I'm gonna get paid off of it. I
So you
definitely
gonna send a
go
text,
TMZ.
hey man, hey, just run me 20,000. You don't want these pictures to get out. You know what time it is.
Nah, I end up in jail at that point. But what I will hit up, TMZ and stuff or whoever and get
Yeah,
paid
take a
off
look
of
at
it.
take a look at it. I just sent you some more. Take a look at it. Tell me what you think. What do your eyes tell you is going on in here? Because my eyes tell me it's an obvious affair. Again,
Well, I mean, these are the same picture, but without seeing even without seeing the pictures, obviously, if they're at a resort together and it's not a business oriented thing, like the Patriots. It's not like the Patriots are there or the
right.
Athletic is all there. It's just those two. I mean, think about it. If either of our wives were at a resort with somebody, the first thing we're gonna think, oh man, what what I'm saying? They have an affair.
It's
It's
gonna
not
be
a
Usher. Hey,
yeah.
so we all know Usher and Chris Brown are going on tour. If my
Mhm.
wife got up there and let Chris Brown kiss her in the mouth, or if I saw her
Yeah.
at the resort, like Usher said, papers. Sign the papers.
Yeah, it'd be
Cause
over.
guess what? She gonna tell me the same thing. If she catch me out nasty work like that at a resort or at the concert and I'm kissing, a celebrity in the mouth, it's gonna be
Yeah.
all bad.
Yeah, I just don't understand, like I do understand why they do it, but why but that's dumb. Like if you got a husband or whatever, or why are you getting on the stage with Chris Brown? Even if you're not kissing him, it's still disrespectful to just get on the stage with him.
Well,
Because you already know what's gonna happen.
yeah, I would say yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, you know
So
what's gonna happen.
we went to the Usher concert in Vegas, right? And this lady,
Mhm.
she got up on stage because it caught up there and Miguel and Usher sang to her.
Yeah.
This lady played herself. She tried to put Miguel's hand up her shirt.
Okay.
So if she had a dude out there, clearly you going back home by yourself. I'm not going home with you. You gonna
Yeah.
find your own way back.
I don't know that she played herself because she might not have had a dude out there, you know?
Yeah, but
But
I mean, Miguel wasn't even receptive to it. That man's wife was out there, which was wild.
yeah. Yeah, you know? It is what it is. She's, tried to shoot her shot and it didn't work. I mean, it happens. But if you do, like that girl that tongue kissed Chris Brown.
She did kiss
Yeah.
Chris Brown, and
Yeah.
her husband was out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Her dude was out there. I don't know if they're still together or not,
I don't think so.
but supposedly she made a statement saying, it ain't nothing. She just got carried away or whatever. I'm like, got carried away.
So let's play this out. The wifey tell you I got carried away. Chris Brown singing to me. What's your response?
We just gonna, I mean, it's over. We can get a divorce or whatever. She get on that stage with them, we're getting a divorce. You know what I'm saying? If Chris Brown reaches out and asks my wife to get on stage, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna stand there because she's a grown woman. She can make her decision. But as soon as she gets on that stage, I'm gonna call my people, my lawyer, and everything, and be like, yo, I need to get these divorce papers written up. It's over.
ASAP. Hey, or she be backstage taking a picture of Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Them prom pictures.
Even if she doesn't get on that thing and go through all that or whatever, the fact and the matter that she went on there knowing that could happen, that's enough already.
So, all right. So if Beyonce called you up, remember how Janet used to call people up and do the lap dance and all that?
Yeah.
Let's say Beyonce called you up. You staying in your seat?
Yeah, I'm staying in my seat. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like that's gonna be my woman or anything. Nah, I'm staying right there in my seat.
He said, I'm not about to play myself, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna play myself and say it on the podcast. I'm gonna go up there.
Nah, definitely not getting on stage with none of them or whatever. It is what it is. Now, a hip hop concert and one of them dudes, Ice Cube or anybody up there rapping, and he's like, get on stage and rap with me or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I get on stage and do something else like that,
Right.
but not none of that sensual stuff with any of them females getting on stage. Nah, forget that.
Ice Cube call you up and say, "Hey, keep it gangster and let's do the crip walk." You up there?
I'm up there. Then we got it.
Hey,
Something
you ever
like
been
that.
called on stage for anything?
Nah, they ain't had no. Why would they call me on stage? They ain't had,
Yeah, why would they? You pretty ugly. They ain't gonna call you on stage. You ugly, bro.
Nah, hey, it is what it is, ugly or not. Well, here's the thing: if it's a hip hop concert and it's some dudes, it shouldn't matter if I'm ugly or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they choosing dudes to come on stage because of how they look. Hopefully not. And if they are, please don't choose me. You know.
I actually been called on stage once, but it wasn't for a hip hop thing. So me,
Yeah.
you know my cousin LA. We was at
Mhm.
an old school concert, and it was Morris Day and the Time.
Yeah.
They had called us up, and we was up there doing the bird with Morris Day and the Time on stage, man. We had a good time. It was fun.
That's what's up.
So
That's what's up.
yeah, so I got called up for a good reason. Now I don't think Morris
Mhm.
Day wanted to do no lap dance for me or nothing like that.
You're gonna get
We was
called.
up there.
You're gonna get called up to a Chris Brown concert. What?
He gonna want to serenade me?
Usher gonna give you one of them strawberries.
Oh no, bro! I can't go out like that. I cannot go out like that. But it was crazy though when we went to the concert. People keeping a little Usher money and all that. They was going crazy for the dude. I will give him this, and you seen him in person too, man. Yo, this gonna be the biggest concert probably this year, bro. I'm definitely trying to go. Ticket Jerry, look out for your boy, because I seen both of them separately, and they put on an amazing show. So I know it's gonna be a great show with both of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a good show. Probably might be some more controversy. With them
Of
girls
course.
getting on the stage and stuff like that. I'm sure that helps Chris Brown out a lot. So
Usher
he's
too.
like,
He don't cause some relationship
Yeah.
issues. Ask Keke Palmer.
yeah.
Hey, shout out to Dianna Russini. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, she bounced back. You probably see her out here podcasting like Shannon Sharp and some of the others on your own platform. We know the Patriots going to protect Mike Vrabel because they trying to go back to the Super Bowl. So it kind of is what it is. Y'all
Man,
comment.
forget that. Man, I'm sorry to cut you off, but forget that. I don't care nothing about her coming back. Duh, if she out there, if that's true, and she out there cheating on her husband or whatever, then she got exactly what she deserved.
Well, then he should give us that. He cheating on his wife.
He should get in some type of trouble, but he's not, But I'm just
You see,
saying,
they not a doka. Then he ain't getting Ime Adoka. You know what I'm saying?
but
He lost a job over a affair.
whatever consequences they get, they deserve it. But if they really were cheating, but any consequences they get, they deserve. But if he doesn't get any consequences, then he got away with it.
Well, y'all comment. Let us know what y'all think about the situation. Y'all think this is nasty work or overreaction? Anyway, so we want to talk about the playoffs. I mean, shoot, like I said, I'm not a big fan of play-in tournament, but it definitely got off with a bang last night. The Hornets and the Heat, I enjoyed the game. It came down to the last couple seconds. A couple things I did not understand. Shout out to Brandon Miller, because that three he put that kind of put them in position to go into overtime was big. I didn't like the shot selection, especially Grant Williams at the end, taking the three-point in the corner. It was a selfish and dumb shot. It's 5 seconds left on the clock. I don't know why you would do that. Swing the ball again, dribble, take the layup. LaMelo turned down a layup. Brandon Miller bailed him out by hitting the three. That's the game plan thing I don't really like. But as far as the game, everybody talking about LaMelo grabbing Bam Adebayo's leg and Bam getting injured and not being able to play the second half. And the Heat basically saying, if Bam is here, we could beat y'all. And that shows because we only lost by 1 point. I can't say that the outcome would have been different. We don't know. But do you think that LaMelo should have got ejected for that?
LaMelo should be suspended for the rest of the playoffs and going in. I'm telling you, he should be suspended for the rest of the playoffs and going into the next season. And the reason why is because he's done that before. And also
to the same person.
Yeah, exactly. And also he could have really hurt that dude's career. Like Bam, that could have put him out. He could have had a real bad injury from that. And he obviously did that on purpose. You don't just accidentally grab somebody's leg. You know what I'm saying? He did that on purpose or whatever. He shouldn't be playing for the rest of the playoffs.
Well, he said he got hit in the face and he didn't know where he was at and what was going on.
Even if you get hit, in the face, you might grab your face or you might swing your arm or whatever. Let's say you swing your arm and you hit somebody and you hit somebody's leg. That's one thing. But he actually grabbed this guy's leg. You don't do that. And usually wherever you get hit at, that's where your hand goes.
Well, I mean, he was on the ground at that point.
Yeah, but he got hit in the face. So what he would do, usually he would grab his face. You don't grab somebody's leg like that. That was intentional. And from what I saw, especially from what Eric Spoelstra was saying, the refs, it looked like they didn't see it.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, they didn't see it. So I understand that. But from here on, now that the league sees it, they need to suspend him for the rest of the playoffs and possibly even going into the next season, because you can't intentionally do stuff like that to anybody.
So you think it was just a completely dirty play, like straight Draymond
It
Green?
It was intentional. You don't grab, how can you not, if you're grabbing somebody's leg like that, how is that not intentional? You're intentionally doing that. So, yeah.
Man, all right. I don't rewatch the play a number of times. I do think it was, I don't think it was an accident. I don't know if he was trying to hurt Dre. I don't know if he was trying to hurt Bam. Maybe him and Bam got some type of issue with each other that we don't know about. But at the same time, I think that's an overreaction. Suspending the man for the whole playoffs. We seen Draymond choke somebody and didn't get suspended for the whole playoffs. You seen him stomp on somebody's chest intentionally and not get suspended like that.
But that doesn't mean that he shouldn't have been suspended.
I agree, but you still got to go with the precedent, and the precedent ain't showing that it should be that much time.
No, you don't have to go with that precedent. Just because you messed up before doesn't mean you got to keep messing up or whatever. And
this guy, Draymond, had multiple infractions. He ain't got no long suspension like that.
It doesn't matter. Just because you messed up in the past doesn't mean you have to keep messing up in the present. That right there should have got him out for the rest of the playoffs. And that the reason why he's able to do that now is because Draymond and them didn't get those long suspensions and stuff like that.
So you saying because Adam Silver's soft? I agree with you on that. He is soft.
But if Adam Silver would have did all that to Draymond and had him out for the rest of the playoffs and going into the next season and all that, people like LaMelo Ball wouldn't be grabbing people's legs and stuff like that because they'll be scared. Just like look at the NBA now. Guys, they get mad at each other. They look at each other. They get in each other's face, but they don't swing. They don't fight. all these guys are not just soft or anything like that. They just
They
don't
know
want
what
to.
the consequences are.
Yeah, the consequence is going to be a whole lot of money, and they're going to get those suspensions. And also, you only can get so many texts and so many, so they know that there's consequences. If you don't know there's consequences, then you're going to keep doing whatever you want to do. Adam Silver
I
needs to
mean, we
toughen
have
up.
seen guys get into it with fans. 2 weeks ago was a fight that went into the front row where dudes were falling on fans. Had that been David Stern, them guys would have got some serious suspensions just for the fact that
Exactly.
your altercation, there wasn't no punches, but the fact that y'all tussling on top of fans, David
Yeah.
Stern would not stand for that. We saw what happened with the Mouse in the Palace. I agree with you. I do wish that it was kind of the standard that Stern set, because everybody knew, don't play with him, man.
Yeah.
He gonna sit you out for a whole season. Ask Latrell Sprewell. Ask Captain Jack how much money he lost. You know what I'm saying? Ask Jermaine O'Neal how much money he lost fooling around with David Stern. So people know, don't play him, man. But at the same time, the standard is the standard. Unfortunately, Adam has lowered the standard. I think LaMelo should get a tech. It should be, if it's a suspension, a 1-game suspension, but at the same time, the ref didn't catch it. I kind of feel like it should be a flagrant on his record and move on.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the ref not catching it. The ref didn't catch it. That is what it is. The video caught it, and we've all seen it. The league is reviewing it because the league, there's other things that the ref hasn't in different games that the ref didn't catch that the league reviewed and handed down some type of, but the league reviewed and handed down some type of punishment for it. So forget that the ref didn't see it. They're reviewing this, and they could give a harsh punishment, which they really need to set a real precedent so this stuff doesn't keep happening.
So you think LaMelo's a dirty player?
No, I'm not saying he's a dirty player. He just made a dirty play. That's all it was.
It's obvious that them two got some sort of smoke with each other, because that's not a coincidence. You're going to do the same thing twice to the same person. Something is going on with them two that they need to go ahead and get it over
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's not like this was the first time LaMelo did it. He did it before. Now that there's no consequences, he might do it again to somebody else or to Bam again, and next time injure him for his whole career. Like, anything could have happened. You can't really do stuff like that, man.
So do you think that affected the outcome of the game, Bam being out?
I don't know. Possibly. I mean, Bam is their best player. I mean, they're a better team than the Heat. And, I always said that LaMelo Ball on that team can't be your best player for your team to be good. And now I think he's not the best player. He's probably the second best player on the team.
I think he's the third, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably even the third. Yeah. So I think that team, even though they're not going to win a title this year, I think the way that they're going in the future, a couple years, 2-3 years from now, they can be contenders.
Well, this goes to the point you made. We talked about this on the previous episode. The Hornets had a better record than the Heat. And I think if they play a series, the Hornets are going to win, because I get it, Khalil Ware is nice. I feel like that guy was drafted low for what his talent was. I watched him in college. I knew he could do this. Remember, we were at the draft, and I'm sitting there like, man, I hope the guy falls to the Cavs. Please pick the guy. And of course, he gets picked before we can pick. But again, I like what we got out the draft anyway. And I even thought, even with the Hawks, I know it was a high, recommendation on Zachary Resigne, but I saw Khalil Ware at Indiana. And I was like, I think I might gamble on him. I know this is like a reach, but now in retrospect, it don't look like a reach. He's a starter, version on really starting to break out. Resigne is going the other way. Yeah, he's a bench warmer now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it really wasn't a bad pick, but at the same time, I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm like, yo, man, Canipple is their best player. That kid should be, it should be co-MVP between him and Cooper Flagg. It should be just like we saw at Grant Hill and, you know what I'm saying? Can't think of his name now.
Jason Kidd?
Jason Kidd, yeah. I don't know why I was going to say something. Mark Price, anyway.
Mark Price?
That's way off.
He was way before. Yeah, he was way before.
That's way off. But just like we saw with Jason Kidd at Grant Hill, it should be co-MVPs, because Canipple has balled out. Cooper Flagg is balled out. I can't say that one really separated itself from the other. Brandon Miller has developed into a really good player.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are their two best players, where LaMelo is now in the third position, facilitating as he should be. And now, actually, he might be their fourth best player, because Kobe White went crazy in the game. You know what I'm saying? And that seems to be a steal as well.
Yeah, but that doesn't, just because he went crazy in the game doesn't mean he's, their best player. He's got to, be consistent with that for him to
True,
be
he
up.
hasn't been consistent, but I think that was a good pickup. I mean,
It
you
was.
basically dumped, you know what I'm saying, Colin Sexton and get him back. That's a good pickup.
Yeah, no, it was a great pickup. It's just, placing somebody up there as one of the best players on the team because they had a great game. No, I don't.
Well, I mean, he's played well in the playoffs every time he's been in the playoffs. I think you agree that Brandon Miller and Canipple are their best players,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
they're up
very
there.
obvious.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
can't say they would have won, but at the same time, I mean, should we watch Tyler Hero play really well? I don't know, man. I just feel like it's an overreaction to suspend the guy for the whole season. At most a
For the whole
game.
playoffs.
For the whole play. I mean, that's the rest of the season.
But the season's over for the whole playoffs.
Yeah, but if they suspend him for the playoffs, the Hornets are done. They're done.
Yeah, they're gonna lose anyway. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if they're gonna be done or whatever. What matters is what he did, and what he did was unacceptable because he could have cost Bam way more than what actually happened. He could have cost the man his career, or at least he could have cost the man, a season next season. It could have been
Right.
anything because you did it on purpose. So it's not about, "Oh, man, it's gonna hurt the Hornets if you do this." No, LaMelo should have thought about that before he did what he did, and they need consequences for that stuff. That's why Draymond does what he does. Think about it. The Malice in the Palace happened, and those guys had dire consequences or
Yeah.
whatever, dire consequences. And now it's rare that you don't see anybody going in there trying to beat up
A fan.
yeah, a fan. I forgot the name. You don't see anybody going trying to
Yeah,
beat up
like
fan. They get mad at fans, but they don't do anything to them. They talk crazy to the fan, and then they look at security and like, "Yo, get them out,
get him
get them
out of
out."
here.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they don't go touch them because they know that they could be out for the season. They could be out of the league. Basically
I mean,
doing
that
that.
was expensive because it cost Ron Artest a lot of time. I mean,
Yeah,
we seen 3 guys swing on fans.
yeah.
Captain Jack swung, but the fan did swing on Captain Jack first, but he did swing on the fan. We seen
Hmm.
Jermaine O'Neal KO a fan on the floor. We seen
Yeah.
Artest put his hands on a fan. Yes, that's basically a death penalty. You put your hands on a fan, even
And
if the
Steve
fan antagonizes you.
Yeah, and Steven Jackson was actually in the wrong when that fan actually came at him because Steven Jackson wasn't on the court when he hit that fan. Steven Jackson was in the
He
stands
was in the stands.
when
Yeah.
he hit that fan. So if I'm a fan and I see Steven Jackson coming up there or whatever, and I know I'm getting into it with one of the other, I had just got into it with one of the other guys.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
Jamal Tinsley had got into it with somebody, and Steven
yeah.
Jackson was jumping in to help him.
Yeah, Imma swing on Steven Jackson too, because 'cause I'm thinking, "Oh, you coming up here to help your guy. You're not grabbing Jamal Tinsley, you coming up here towards me, so yeah, Imma swing on you." You
Yeah,
know
and
what I'm
then
saying?
it was, Jermaine O'Neal swung on the guy on the floor because the guy walked
Yeah,
past him, and Jermaine O'Neal thinks the guy's jumping up, to basically swing on him, and he KO'd the guy real quick.
yeah, I mean, Jermaine O'Neal hit him and fell down himself. Whatever, you know what I'm saying?
And you wouldn't have fell down, would you?
Oh, I don't know, it depends if the floor was slippery. I don't know why he fell down, but he hit the guy and fell down.
Hey,
I
he
was
don't need
like,
to be fighting you falling down punching people, huh?
exactly, because if that dude don't go down or whatever, then you messed up because you on the ground.
It's over now.
Yeah. And believe if I was that guy, if I would have been able to stay up after that hit, man, I would have stomped Jermaine O'Neal out while he was on the ground or whatever.
Man, that would be in infamy, dog. Jermaine O'Neal gets stomped out by a fan. That's in
Yeah.
infamy right there. But you're right, man. I mean, at the same point, we seen Russ get into it with a lot of people on, the court
Mhm.
side and not put his
Yeah.
hands on people. And I do think
Exactly.
it's rude that people call him Russell Westbrook Westbrick to his face. That's rude. That's some stuff that
Skip
Skip Bayless
Bayless.
made. But at the same time, you can't lose your cool, man. If you rush, you're not gonna lose no $30 million over somebody calling you a name.
Yeah, and I like Russell Westbrook. I really like him. I like his tenacity. I think he's one of the greats and all that stuff. But the Russell Westbrook thing, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I didn't see anything wrong with it because of the way he played. I mean, he was a bad 3-point shooter, but he kept shooting threes and he kept bricking them. He kept bricking them. He kept doing the thing that he wasn't good at. So yeah, Westbrook did fit. I know people don't like getting name called or whatever, but also
Or
you're
getting
on
a
a
name like Paul George ends up being George Paul.
yeah, George Paul, Skip Bayless came
That
up with
wasn't that
that
bad
too.
though. That wasn't as bad as Westbrook. I mean,
George
you
Paul
think
was kind of bad.
I know you know what he was going for. We know what he was going
Yeah,
for. My guy
yeah, I
from
know.
Wham that was in the group, that was a singer that passed away.
Yeah,
We know what he was going.
yeah,
We know what he's trying to say if
hmm
you old enough.
yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I think I would have been able to ignore somebody calling me Westbrick. What about you?
Well, yeah, I would have been able to ignore that, but I mean, just because we're able to ignore it doesn't mean Westbrook is. I mean, you got to look at him. He comes off like a real emotional guy,
He
anyways.
reacts every time somebody say something to him too.
Exactly. He's a real emotional guy. So that could have got to him. We look at these guys because they're all built up and strong and athletic, and in the NBA, we act like that they're not humans and they're not emotional. No, these guys are probably more emotional than us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just because you got millions of dollars doesn't mean you don't have emotions. So, Westbrook is an emotional guy.
That's true. But then you see guys like Kevin Garnett, they don't react. And I'm sure he's been called a lot of stuff. Kobe Bryant, I mean, at the height of what was going on with him and his situation, I think that's a lot harder to not react. People bringing up your
But
personal situation that you fighting for your life in court for.
yeah, but everybody's different. Everybody reacts different, and some people are more emotional than others. I mean, you look at Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown's a real
True.
emotional guy. All that stuff they got to him, he came up on the internet and just started going crazy and going off on everybody because of all the stuff that people were saying about him. All that stuff got to him.
You
It
like, yo, we
happened.
didn't even know you was a real hitter like that.
Man, we didn't. Well, I don't know about him being a hitter, but I didn't know
Well, I
that.
mean, what
I
his threats were.
Yeah, I never heard him speak like that. I was surprised. There was a lot of shock value to hear him speak like that, you know?
Exactly. We ain't
But
heard him say 2 words and now you going crazy.
yeah, but, a lot of the stuff that he was saying, you know, at first, a lot of it, it made sense. I understood why he was saying it and stuff. Now, I think it went on too long and then it started getting ridiculous.
Red start getting silly.
Yeah, it started getting silly. I mean, I understand him going at Stephen A and going at Matt Barnes and Stephen J. I understand him going at all them, but I mean, on the flip side, I mean, if you look at Kwame Brown stuff now, people are not really checking for it because that shot value is
No,
gone.
it's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
The 15 minutes of fame is up and they moved on. It's
hmm
kind of like all the other people, hide your kids, hide your wife. Hide Kwame
Yeah.
Brown now at this point. You know who's not hiding though? Pat Riley and the Miami Heat. They just lost, and we saw in amazing fashion a 1-point game. They're talking about making a serious push to bring in the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Heat, talking about possibly trading Khalil Ware. We just talked about him, Tyler Hero, and at least 2 first-round picks. I'm gonna give you the job as the GM for the Milwaukee Bucks, owner Jimmy Haslett. You own the Bucks and you own the Cleveland Browns. Are you taking the Miami Heat call? You taking Pat Riley's call for that?
No, I mean, that's a terrible trade for us. I mean, the picks, I mean, I doubt if it's going to be a top 3 or 4 pick. And
Because you're gonna be a
yeah,
playoff team.
yeah, well, I mean, they're a play-in team. They're not really in the playoffs because they
Well, I would
lost.
say if you add Giannis, you'll be a playoff team if he's healthy.
Yeah, yeah. If you add Giannis, yeah, you'll be a playoff team. So I don't know if that's no. I'm not gonna even say I don't know. That's a terrible trade. That's a terrible trade. I wouldn't do it. The only team that's getting better in that trade is the Heat. By getting Giannis. The Bucks, they're sorrier and they get worse even after that. So
Yeah, because they talking about, because Tyler Hero's from Milwaukee. So what? Jalen Johnson is too. What does that
yeah,
mean?
I don't care where the person is from. You know what? What are you doing? I don't care where you're from.
Yeah,
So
because I would argue honestly, Tyler Hero on another team is a role player, possibly a 6-man.
oh, yeah, of course. Tyler Hero's not a star player or anything like that. I mean, he just, he's just the team that he's on, he gets a lot more shots,
Right.
because there's not a lot of people there. So, he gets a lot more shots. But no, Tyler Hero's not a star. He's not the player that's going to lead you to a championship. He's not a first, second, or really even, he's barely a third option,
Right.
barely, depending on what team, so.
That makes you look crazy too because you take that trade, you didn't ask for Norman Powell, you didn't get Andrew
hmm
Wiggins. I'm not saying those guys are huge difference makers. I think Norman
Yeah.
Powell's a super solid role player, like a guy
Yeah,
that
he
can
is.
take a lot of pressure off your star.
Yeah, I
You didn't
would
get him.
want
That sounds crazy.
yeah, I would definitely want him in the trade. I wouldn't want Andrew Wiggins, though. Andrew Wiggins is washed.
Yeah, he is what he is at this point. But at the same
Mhm.
time, I mean, that's not a good valuation. I mean, you talking about if you are Milwaukee, I'm holding out Boston will trade me Jason Tatum. And we
Yeah,
both got better. I mean, I ain't gonna say we both got better, but it works for everybody. It's pretty even trade. Works for everybody.
yeah,
Works for me, works for them.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
I'm a hold out and maybe I'll get. I mean, because to me, the Heat deal is slightly better than the deal that the Warriors are talking about with Draymond.
Mhm.
Slightly, because Draymond's washed at this point.
Yeah, so what Milwaukee's gonna need at this point are a lot of picks, right? But they're gonna need the right picks. They can still find a good team that has maybe somebody else's picks, like, like the Hawks have. Don't they have the Pelicans pick,
Yeah,
I
for this
believe?
season. This season.
Yeah, yeah, so they have the Pelicans pick for this season, so that would have been a good pick, right? A good play right there if the Hawks had something to give them, that pick and some good players to give them or something, but they're gonna need, because I mean, even getting Jason Tatum is not gonna really help the Bucks, to tell you the truth. It's the
I
best
mean,
player
true,
that.
because you still need more around him, but at the same
Exactly.
time, it's a better deal than you walked away with Tyler Hero. That's a
Yeah,
better
that
deal.
no, of course it's a better deal than walking with Tyler Hero, but they're gonna need to build because they're not gonna get free agents coming over there. So they're gonna need to build out of the draft, and getting a guy like Jason Tatum, you want to get him so you can make the playoff push. And they're not gonna make a playoff push with Jason Tatum and what they got.
Or you wait for Utah. I mean, if you don't care about doing right by Giannis, you make a trade with Utah. Y'all send me Laurie Marketing and some picks, we good.
Mhm.
So that or you look at the Cavs. It's already been talked. They already had conversation for Giannis for, some draft picks and Evan Mobley. I'm gonna take him over Tyler Hero.
Mhm.
At least Evan Mobley been defensive player of the year.
Yeah. So the Bucks, the reason why I say the Bucks don't need to trade Giannis for another star, because they're not going to get another player, some top players to be around them, and they're really going to have to build like through the draft and stuff like that through free agency, but they're not going to get top free agents, but they still can get some people out of free agency. But they're gonna need to build through the draft, so that's why with Giannis, they're gonna have to trade him for draft picks and
Parts and
stuff like
pieces, yeah.
that. Yeah.
Or like the Knicks. You make a deal with the Knicks. Y'all give me a combination of three of them guys and some draft picks, we good.
Mhm.
Whatever three you want. It could be Cat and two of the Villanova guys. You figure it out. But they have the players to make the trade.
Yeah.
So there's no
So
way I'm taking the call from Miami.
yeah, so I wouldn't even want Cat. They're gonna need the tank. The Milwaukee Bucks are gonna need the tank. They're gonna need to get draft picks, and they're gonna need the tank so that, so that even their own draft picks are real good.
Or if
So
you
they.
make a trade and you get a young player, like I said, like a Evan Mobley, he's still a very young player. You can
Mhm.
still tank, and he
Exactly.
might be good enough by the time that you get them picks around him to actually do something.
Yeah, but that's gonna be the whole thing. That's why you don't want Tatum, you don't want Cat, you don't want any of those guys that are gonna help you win extra games. You want to tank. They're gonna need a tank.
Well, it looks like my dream might come true depending on what happens with the Cavs. We go figure it out. But we talking about who has the most pressure on them coming into this year, the playoffs. So we got a couple nominees, LeBron James. Obviously, a lot of pressure when you're LeBron all the time. Not my pick, but you still also have James Harden out there. The narrative on him, we all know he has not done well in game sevens and got out of a game seven yet. That
Yeah.
really mattered in an elimination situation. Mitchell has not been past the second round. We know that as well. We kind of looking at this and saying who has the most pressure on them when
KD
we
was on
talking
the
about
list too.
and KD as well. Obviously, they make that big trade for him. It's been kind of up and down with the Rockets, and he has not shown improved since he left Golden State. Out of these guys, and maybe somebody we didn't say, who do you think has the most pressure on him?
Uh, well, especially out of the guys that we just talked about, I would say KD, because LeBron, I don't think has any pressure on him whatsoever. Especially the fact that those other guys, Reeves, Luca, they're out. Yeah, and nobody, even with Reeves and Luca, nobody expected LeBron and them, the Lakers, to even get out of the second round, much less the first round, depending on who they played. And right now they're playing Houston, and people look at Houston, even with Luca and Reeves on the team, they look at Houston as a better team.
I would
So
agree.
they were looking at the Lakers as a first round exit, basically. So, but I say KD because, like we said, since he's been away from Golden State, he hasn't had much success.
He's
You
been
know,
cursed.
yeah.
Check it out. The video's
So,
right there. Check it out right there. If you want to see about KD being cursed, right there.
yeah, exactly. So, now you're looking at the Houston Rockets seem like they were better last year before they got KD. So I think KD is going to have a lot to prove to show that he can lead the team, be a leader, and be that guy to take them, a lot further. So yeah, I say KD.
I have to disagree. I have to strongly
Uh-huh.
disagree. It's Donovan Mitchell. KD,
He's going to
I
say
agree.
that.
LeBron has no pressure.
Hmm.
LeBron is cemented. He's LeBron. On top of all that, like you said, AR is out. Luke is out. They're done for the season. And at this
Uh-huh.
point, if the Lakers are going to make any noise, LeBron has to go full 2018 and go crazy. He's going to have to turn back into that version of LeBron. And I don't see that happening at his current age. He can do it in spurts, but you got to remember in 2018, this man did it through 3 rounds and got them to the finals and was a J.R. Smith mistake away from winning the first game. Had a 50-point triple-double. I don't see him doing that for 3 rounds at his current age, and that's okay. So I would say there's no pressure on LeBron. KD, I would say there's a little, but again, at the same time, the Houston Rockets are a young team, and we know that they got to learn how to win. Plus, they're missing Fred VanVleet, which is really going to show right now in the playoffs. It's going to be super obvious. I would still say James Harden, fortunately, his shield is Donovan Mitchell. I think it's Donovan Mitchell, man. In Utah, you didn't make it out the second round. You had these great games against Jamal Murray, put up the 50-point games and all that type of stuff. Same thing has happened with the Cavs. You have not made it out of the second round. And now, with this matchup, you should beat Toronto. That puts you in position to play the Pistons, who you should be able to beat. So at the same time, I say it's Donovan Mitchell, man. He's getting ready to have that Tracy McGrady narrative that you can't make it out the second round.
Look, the reason why I don't think it's Donovan Mitchell because nobody is expecting the Cavs people are not even really talking about them as far as making it out of the East because people don't think the Cavs are better than the Knicks. People don't think the Cavs are better than the Celtics. And I even hear people talking more about the Hawks than they are the Cavs as far as making it, to the finals because, the Hawks had their big streak at the end, although that streak that they had is kind of iffy because most of the
It was
teams
on
that they
bottom feeders.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Most of the teams that they beat were teams that were tanking. So, that's it's a little questionable, but I think Donovan Mitchell is gonna get a pass just because nobody expecting them to make it to the finals anyways, except a Cleveland fan like you.
Well, dog, they were already picked as a team that could come out the East with the Tatum injury. So they already
Yeah.
picked for that. On top of all this, here's the problem, bro. And I actually agree with Kendrick Perkins. I rarely agree with him. He's right when he said that the team has done more for him than they've done for LeBron James. They got Darius Garland up out of there. You got James Harden. You wanted him. You handpicked James Harden. They've made every move that you wanted and brought in different guys each time. He wanted DeAndre Hunter, got him. Didn't want him no more, got him up out of there. You know what I'm saying? So they've made all these moves to actually support you, man. And at some point, you got to get out of the second round. And this is their best chance. And let's be honest, the team folded and looked bad. You were in first place last year and didn't make it out the second round. That was crazy.
Well, last year they had a bunch of injuries too. So
Man, that's an
come on now.
excuse, bro. They had
But it's true.
Game 1, it was an excuse. You couldn't inbound the ball. Nobody was injured. You couldn't inbound the ball.
But here's
That's
the
what
thing.
lost them the game.
Here's the thing. Like I said, Donovan Mitchell, the pressure's on him for Cleveland fans and maybe the Cleveland organization, but basketball fans overall don't even see, they would be shocked if Cleveland came out of the East.
So you feel like there's no pressure on James Harden given the narrative right now?
No, nobody cares about James Harden or whatever. That's the thing. I mean, James Harden is not. They look at James Harden, even though James Harden is still a real good player. Like LeBron James. LeBron James is a real good player, but we know LeBron's out of his prime. That's the same thing with James Harden. James Harden is a real good player, and he can still put up his points. He can still get assists, but James Harden is out of his prime. People don't care. There might be some people that talk about it just because they're gossipy or whatever, but nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I would say
at
the
this
same
point.
thing about KD because here's the thing, bro. You never hear anybody even say that they're gonna make it out the West. What do you hear? You hear Shea and you hear Joker. Nobody is talking about them, bro. They're not in the discussion.
Just the same thing you said about
And you hear Wemby.
But listen, the same thing you said about Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers, that they were projected to be able to go to the finals and all this stuff, are projected to beat these teams and be better than the Celtics and all that. When KD first came to Houston, it was the same way. They were projected to be one of the top teams and all that. The reason why that went away, that aura around them went away, because they've had a lackluster season so far. And they were actually better the season before without KD. It's been lackluster. But
I
now
agree with you
people
as far as that part.
yeah, so now people aren't talking about them anymore. But no, but when KD first went to Houston, people was like, man, KD on Houston and they already got such and such and such and such, and ooh, they're gonna be a good team. Then they started playing the game. And once they played the game, you saw that it wasn't what it was. KD, and I was worried about that too, but KD actually kind of stops the ball a little bit on that team, and it's not team ball, it's more ISO now. So I don't really see them
I
like,
agree with you as far as the
yeah,
ISO, and I think again they're playing without their point guard.
well,
It's
of
kind of
course.
hard if you don't got the table setter to actually play the right way, and they didn't
Hmm.
have a chance to replace Van Fleet. We know he's a very important piece, and maybe it would look different with him. You're right. Without him, it does look like ball stoppage.
Yeah.
Very limited offense, hot and cold for Şengün. Thompson has basically disappeared. He's fallen off the map with KD being there. We don't even talk about him anymore. And he was an up and
Şengün
coming
is not
star.
even, yeah, Şengün is not even playing like a star every game.
Yeah, and I'll give Şengün hot and cold because he was an all-star this year. But at the same time, I would say Thompson suffered the most of everybody because
Yeah.
he's almost unmentioned and he was an ascending star.
Yeah, he
And we
was.
don't say that anymore. It's just he's another player at this point. And it even looks kind of crazy, not saying that they were so much better with Jalen Green, but at least they had an identity that fit. And I think that was more because of Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks, yeah.
Letting him walk away was a big mistake.
So here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. We know the Lakers don't play defense, and they're an offensive team. Now with Luka and Austin Reeves, from what I hear, the pundits and all the people talking, they're saying with Luka and Austin Reeves and LeBron James, they said that the Lakers have a chance, even the way they play with no defense and stuff, they still have a chance to beat the Rockets.
Right.
That shouldn't be. The Rockets, if you look at the names and the players that they have on that team, you shouldn't be able to be a all offense type of team, play no defense, and beat that Rockets team. Nobody should even be thinking that because we look and really they look at the Rockets and they see that there's something missing and it's not clicking all together. And I think a lot of it, I love Kevin Durant. To me, Kevin Durant is probably one of the most skilled players to ever play the game and all
I
that.
agree.
But
I agree.
but I think, a player like him needs to be put in a better situation like how he was in Golden State, because if you look at him with the Thunder, I knew they were never going to win a championship, you know.
Well, I mean, at some point, I think, they could have broke through. I agree. I mean, it's easy to be in the right position when you got the right coach.
Exactly.
He fell into Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr obviously was under the Phil Jackson tree, understands how to kind of, make sure that everybody eats and move the ball. And you're playing with two of the greatest shooters of all time.
Yeah.
It makes life a lot easier. So
He had a system.
that's not really that's a no-brainer. You go to
Yeah.
Brooklyn and there's a lack of leadership. Let's call it what it is. That's why it failed. Lack of leadership. And you can't have three ball dominant guys trying to lead a team. That never works.
No, it was a lot of, lack of leadership, but it was a lot of ISO on that team.
Right.
I used to watch them all the time, and it was just the three players, James Harden, Kyrie, Kevin Durant. It was my turn, my turn, my turn, and nobody else on the team really got the ball. It was just a bunch of ISO, and I think a lot of the reasons for that, if you look at the NBA, like we talked about, everybody plays the same. It's just pick and
Same.
roll. Yeah,
The
it's just
same.
it's just pick and roll and give it to your best player and let him step back, shoot, whatever. So there's not a lot of teams with a lot of motion the way that Golden State plays. So Kevin Durant's not going to fit in with a lot of these teams. He's just going to play ISO because he is
Right.
one of the best ISO players.
And I think the Phoenix situation, that's kind of tough, man. Some of it is his fault and some of it's not. Part of what went wrong in Phoenix, the organization made the wrong gamble on the third guy, that being Bradley Beal. You made a gamble on a guy that has basically been nothing but empty calories his whole career and can't stay healthy. So that kind of ruined everything because from a salary cap perspective, you had to mortgage the whole team to get those three guys anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a horrible decision. It's to the point that you do make a great point that coaching matters. And now the NBA has basically watered down coaching. So the few guys that are really good at it, it really stands out because they can draw up a defensive plan that makes a difference. They can draw up an offensive plan that makes a difference while everybody else just plays the same way and jacks up threes. Because really,
Yeah.
Charlotte should have lost yesterday because they kept shooting threes when they could have took twos and took the lead.
Yeah. the Suns really, the biggest problem with them was the same thing. Kevin Durant was in the same situation then that he's in now. They didn't have the point guard, the traditional point guard. I mean, at times Devin Booker was because Bradley Beal was hurt and all that, and Devin Booker was the point guard. But even if they had Bradley Beal out there,
He's not a point guard.
he's not a traditional point guard. He's a scorer. He was leading the league in scoring. With the Wizards. I mean, so Kevin Durant keeps being in the same, situation. So that's why I say it's not all on Kevin Durant, but I mean, it's just the way the NBA plays, man. It's just not everybody's playing. Everybody on the team is playing like Kevin Durant, and they're not Kevin Durant. You see what I'm
That's the
saying?
problem. And we got everybody that's a center shooting threes like their Joker or,
Mhm.
some of the other centers that can make them like Embiid, and they're not those
Exactly.
guys. You know
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
even I don't even have to like before the game starts or whatever. What these playoff games, I can pretty much tell you what they're gonna do in the game.
Well, I mean, yesterday it was kind of shown. LaMelo Ball, I think he shot 16 threes by himself.
Yeah,
I
it's
watched the game like maybe 3 weeks ago, and
yeah,
the Bucks were one 3-pointer away from setting the record for most 3-pointers in a game. You talking about a team that's tanking.
yeah,
That's wild, man. Nobody wants to go to a game where dudes are shooting 32 threes. Even if you got all the best 3-point shooters of all time, you don't need to be taking 32 threes. That's crazy.
yeah. LaMelo Ball is a 36% 3-point shooter, but he's shooting it like he's a 40 something, like
Or
a 40.
60%.
I'm like, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Well, you know what's not crazy? Y'all, we appreciate everybody that watches this show, that supports us, that pulls up, likes, comments, shares. Please continue to support us. Like, comment, and share. We will catch y'all on the next one. Hey, tell this guy he's not an expert.
Man, comment Mike the expert in the comment section if you think I'm an expert and I'm better than KP at this.
Bro, how you gonna be an expert and you want Shador on everything? You even want Shador in the NBA. Hey, we'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.